Editing Islam out of the Orlando terrorist attacks, I'm Brian Lilly with the Rebel.media. We've known since the early hours of the investigation into the terrorist attack at Pulse nightclub in Orlando that the person that carried it out did it in the name of Islam, did it in the name of the Islamic State. We've known this because law enforcement officials were up front. They told reporters and the public that Omar Mateen called them in the middle of his hostage-taking situation and told them he pledged allegiance to the Islamic State. So why then, as the FBI releases a partial transcript of these phone calls, are they editing out certain parts, including any references to these groups or their leadership? Well, that was the call that was made by Loretta Lynch. She is Obama's Attorney General and explained her decision on Meet the Press on Sunday.
A partial transcript of his calls with the hostage negotiators.
You say partial. What's being left out?
Well, what we're not going to do is further proclaim this individual's pledges of allegiance to terrorist groups and further his propaganda.
So we're not going to hear him talk about those things?
We will hear him talk about some of those things, but we're not going to hear him make his assertions of allegiance and that.
So the transcript has now been released along with a summary of other calls. What's interesting is that in a summary, the FBI will admit that Omar Mateen called himself, quote, an Islamic soldier, and told the crisis negotiator that he was the person who pledged his allegiance to omitted, and told the negotiator to tell America to stop bombing Syria and Iraq, and that is why he was out here right now. Further up in this transcript, you can see a part of the call that happened at 2:35 a.m. Emergency 911, this is being recorded. Omar Mateen, in the name of God, the most merciful, the beneficial, and then he switches to Arabic. What? Praise be to God and prayers as well as peace be upon the prophet of God. Again, he switches in Arabic. I let you know I'm in Orlando and I did the shootings. What's your name? My name is I pledge allegiance to omitted. Okay, what's your name? I pledge allegiance to omitted. May God protect him. On behalf of, all right, where are you at? In Orlando. Where in Orlando? End of call. So this is an odd situation. They're willing to say he describes himself as an Islamic soldier. They're willing to say that he's doing this to get America out of Syria and Iraq, but they're not willing to say the name of the organization that America is fighting in Syria and Iraq. It's a truly bizarre situation, one that is leaving the FBI on the defensive as they face the media.
Part of the redacting is meant to not give credence to individuals who have done terrorist acts in the past. We're not going to propagate their rhetoric, their violent rhetoric, and we see no value in putting those individuals' names back out there. We're trying to prevent future acts from happening again, and for cowards like this one, people like that influence them, so we're not going to continue to put their names out front.
What this really comes back to is what Donald Trump raised the day after the Orlando terrorist attack, that Obama and his administration have trouble dealing with radical Islam, and there's nothing more radical than ISIS. Trump pointed out that Obama would not say the words radical and Islam together, neither would Hillary Clinton, and that left Obama coming to the microphones to mock the idea that using those words would actually accomplish anything.
The main contribution of some of my friends on the other side of the aisle have made in the fight against ISIL is to criticize this administration and me for not using the phrase radical Islam. That's the key, they tell us. We can't beat ISIL unless we call them radical Islamists. What exactly would using this label accomplish? What exactly would it change?
While Obama laughs at the idea that it won't accomplish anything and that there's no special sauce, no special meaning or tactic that will be gathered or harnessed by saying those words, at the same time his department, the department under his authority, refuses to say ISIS in these transcripts. We already know they're out there. ISIS is already using them in propaganda material. What he is trying to do is edit out history. This is editing the history books. This is editing the public record in a way that does nothing but assuage liberal white guilt. It's the wrong move to make. Those that say you can't defeat an enemy unless you can name it are right. And what these transcripts prove is that once again, the Obama administration is afraid to name who the enemy is and deal with it in a forthright way.
Thanks for watching. Click here to never miss a Rebel update. Want even more of the Rebel? Well, click here to become a premium member.